Hello and welcome back to Daily Theory. I'm Charlotte, and this is our second episode. It's good to be back.
It is. I'm Cody. Thanks for joining us again. Since we're still near the start of the year, we thought we'd talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds: New Year's resolutions.
Right. It's this interesting cultural moment, isn't it? A collective pause where we all seem to agree to think about how we want to live. Even if we don't make formal resolutions, the idea of a fresh start is in the air.
Exactly. A shared moment of reflection. And almost immediately, a sense of how fragile those intentions can be. Did you make any this year, Charlotte?
I did, though I hesitate to call it a resolution. It feels too formal. My intention was to get better at sketching, not to become a great artist, just to spend 10 minutes a day doing something non-digital.
I like that. 10 minutes a day. How's it been going so far?
Honestly, it started well, but what surprised me was how quickly it wobbled. On the very first busy morning, I moved my sketchbook off the kitchen table to make space for my laptop, and just like that, the routine already feels a bit less solid.
That's so familiar, how fast the friction shows up.
Exactly. It hasn't failed, but you can already feel how easy it would be for it to slip. What about you, Cody?
Mine is even simpler. I want to read a book before looking at my phone in the morning. I've got a book right on my nightstand. Yesterday morning, it worked. This morning, not so much.
That didn't take long.
Nope, my phone is also my alarm clock, so I have to pick it up to turn it off. And once it's in my hand, the habit just takes over. The intention is there, but the muscle memory is faster. So by day 2, it's already a bit of a struggle.
And that's the interesting part. The intentions are good. We want to sketch, we want to read, but almost immediately we're pulled back toward the old way of doing things.
Right, and these stories are completely ordinary. Everyone has some version of the sketchbook being moved or the phone being too close. So the question isn't what's wrong with us, it's more like what is it about this system of resolutions that makes them hard almost immediately?
Exactly. It seems to come down to a basic misunderstanding of how change actually works. We treat January 1st like a magical reset button. New year, new me. But our lives don't reset.
All the things that were true on December 31st are still true on January 1st.
Our jobs are the same, our families are the same, our homes are arranged in the same way, and most importantly, our brains are wired with the same habits. Our motivation changes overnight, but our environment and our routines don't.
That's a great point. You have this sudden burst of will, but it's running up against months or years of established patterns. The old habits have worn deep grooves like a path in a forest, and the new habit is like trying to forge a new path with a stick. It takes a lot more energy.
That's a perfect metaphor. And that initial motivation from the new year is a finite resource. When it inevitably fades after a few days or weeks, you're left with just the hard work of clearing that path, and the old, easy path is right there.
Right, so the structure of our lives remains the same, but I think there's another layer to it too, which is about how we frame the resolutions themselves.
What do you mean by that?
Well, resolutions tend to be about outcomes, not systems. We say, I want to run a half marathon, or I want to lose 15 pounds, or I want to write a novel. Those are the destinations without any measurable strategy.
Okay, yeah, they are end goals.
They are, but they don't say anything about the daily process needed to get there. The goal is the what, but the system is the how. The system for running a half marathon is laying out your running clothes the night before, having a training schedule, knowing your route. The system for writing a novel is setting aside 30 minutes every morning to write 300 words.
And when our motivation is high, we can power through without a system. We just go for a run. But when that motivation dips, if there's no system in place, the friction of the old routine, sleeping in, watching TV, is just too strong. The system is what carries you when the initial excitement is gone.
Exactly. And there's also the issue of identity. When you start, your identity is still that of a non-runner. You're just someone who is trying to run. Every run requires overcoming that identity. It's only after you've built a system and repeated the action enough times that your identity starts to shift to, I am a runner.
That's a really crucial point. We think the intention is enough to change who we are, but really, it's the repeated action that does it. The proof is in the behavior. And until that identity shifts, you're constantly fighting against your own self concept.
hmm So it's not simply a lack of willpower. It's this combination of fighting existing habits, not having a system, and trying to act in a way that doesn't yet align with your identity. It's a design problem.
Which, in a way, is very reassuring. It's not a personal failing, it's a systems issue, which logically leads to the next question: what kinds of systems actually work? What helps make these changes stick?
Right. If we're observing what makes resolution successful, it's often the opposite of the big, ambitious outcome based goal. It's about making the change almost too small to fail.
You mean instead of I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes every day, you start with I'm going to sit on the cushion for 1 minute?
Exactly. The goal isn't the meditation itself at first. The goal is to become the type of person who shows up to meditate. It lowers the barrier to entry so much that you have no excuse not to do it. You build the habit of showing up first, and then you can gradually increase the duration.
That connects back to building a system. Another part of that system seems to be designing your environment. My sketchbook on the table is a perfect example. When it was visible, I did it. When it was moved, I didn't. The intention didn't change, but the environment did.
That's it. Making the cues for your desired habits more obvious, and the cues for your undesired habits less obvious. If you want to drink more water, leave a glass on the counter. If you want to watch less TV, take the batteries out of the remote and put them in another room.
It's about adding or removing a tiny bit of friction. It seems too simple to work, but that friction is often the deciding factor when we're tired or unmotivated. You're basically designing a path of least resistance that leads to the good habit, not the old one.
It is. So you start small, you build a system, and you shape your environment. It's a much quieter, less dramatic approach than the typical New Year's resolution, but it seems to be grounded in a better understanding of how we actually operate.
I think so. And the main takeaway for me is the idea of self compassion. When a resolution fails, the impulse is to blame our own lack of discipline. But looking at it this way, it's not a moral failing, it's simply a flawed strategy.
Right. January overpromises. It suggests that a change in the calendar can produce a fundamental change in us. But real change is slower, quieter, and much more about the small, deliberate systems we build into our daily lives.
And maybe understanding that system is the most helpful resolution of all. It can change how we approach not just the new year, but any time we want to make a change.
So, with that, we'll bring our second episode to a close.
Thanks for listening, and good luck with your New Year's resolutions. This has been the Daily Theory Podcast.